We're going to talk about a really critical idea for any leader thinking about AI. Today, we're going to unpack why that is probably the worst first move you can make. Just think of this as your roadmap to get from zero to being truly capable as an enterprise. All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a really critical idea for any leader thinking about AI. And honestly, it might sound a little backward at first. The common wisdom says you need to hire your way into an AI strategy. Well, today we're going to unpack why that is probably the worst first move you can make, and why getting your own team fluent in AI has to come first. Let's really dig into this quote because it hits the nail on the head. It just feels logical, right? Bring in the experts and they'll solve the problem. But this one assumption, this single idea, is actually a trap. It's why so many companies just spin their wheels and never get any real momentum with AI. The stakes here are really, really high. Just look at this number. A massive 74% of organizations around the world failed to get any real, tangible value from their AI investments. Think about that. It's not just wasted money. It's a huge loss of opportunity. It's falling behind. This number shows a giant gap between what the technology can do and what businesses are actually getting done. So that's the big question, isn't it? If the old way is broken, what's the new playbook? What are the successful companies doing differently? Well, I can tell you, they're not just buying fancier tech. They're actually building a totally different kind of organization from the inside out. And that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. So here is our game plan. First, we'll talk about that AI hiring trap. Then, we'll redefine the goal, moving from just literacy to true fluency. I'll walk you through a simple framework called the AI Fluency Ladder, show you how it applies to everyone in your company, and then wrap up with the cultural shift you need to make all of this actually work. First up, the AI hiring trap. It is such a tempting shortcut, but believe me, it almost always leads to a dead end. Let's look at exactly why bringing in that expert as your first move is a recipe for disaster. This right here is the absolute heart of the issue. You could hire the smartest data scientist on the planet, but if your own team can't explain your business problems, your customers' pain points, your biggest operational headaches, well, that expert is flying completely blind. The failure isn't in the code, it's in the setup. You need your people, the ones who know your business, to be able to ask the right questions first. So this brings us to a really important shift in how we think about this. For a while now, everyone's been talking about AI literacy. And that's fine, but it's not enough. The real goal, the thing that actually moves the needle, is AI fluency. What's so interesting here is the difference between knowing something passively and actually being able to apply it. You know, literacy is knowing what a hammer is. Fluency is knowing exactly when and how to build a house with it. It's the difference between just understanding the concepts and having the confidence to actually use AI to get a specific business result. That's the muscle we need to build. Okay, so how do we build that fluency across a whole company? You can't just flip a switch. You need a clear path. So let's look at a really simple but powerful framework that can guide you on this journey. The AI Fluency Ladder. Just think of this as your roadmap to get from zero to being truly capable as an enterprise. It's not about some chaotic rush to buy a bunch of tools. It's a very deliberate, step-by-step climb that builds confidence and skill at every single level. It all starts with awareness, just getting everyone on the same page, speaking the same language. Then you move to personal application, where people start playing with AI in small, low-risk ways in their own jobs. From there, you scale up to collaborative integration. That's when teams start using AI to tackle bigger projects together. And finally, you get to enterprise transformation. That's when AI is just part of your DNA. See, each step builds on the one before it. Now, a big picture framework is great, but we have to make it actionable. And the key here is to realize that AI fluency means something different depending on who you are in the organization. This is so important. Generic training programs just don't work. The board's job is totally different from a team lead's job, which is different from a frontline employee's job. A successful transformation means you have to tailor this development for each of these very distinct, role-specific responsibilities. Here's what that looks like. The board and the CEO, they're not writing code. They're setting the vision, the ambition, and asking those big, hard questions about risk and opportunity. The executive team then turns that vision into a real strategy with a real budget. Functional leaders, they're the ones who have to own the results of specific projects. And then every single employee needs to learn how to work with these tools effectively and safely. When everyone nails their part, the whole system just clicks. Now for those employees on the front lines, one of the most practical new skills is something called prompting. And this quote just makes it so simple. It's not some kind of mystical dark art. It's just clear communication. I mean, think about it. You'd never tell a new teammate, hey, go do sales. You'd give them context, clear instructions, and guardrails. You have to do the exact same thing with an AI. To make this even more practical, we can use a simple little mental model called the 4Ds. This framework gives every single employee a way to structure their thinking when they're using an AI tool, so they're not just being effective, but responsible too. It's pretty straightforward. Delegation is about picking the right tool for the right job. Description is that prompting skill we just talked about. Discernment. This one might be the most important. That's using your human judgment to question and check the AI's work. And finally, diligence. That's you taking ownership and being accountable for whatever you create with the AI. Okay, we've talked strategy, we've talked about roles, we've talked about skills. But none of that matters. None of it will stick without the last and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, creating the right culture. And let's be really clear about this. You can have the best technology and the best strategy in the world, but if your culture punishes failure or kills curiosity, you will not get there. In fact, a recent Deloitte survey found that 64% of companies say cultural resistance is their number one roadblock to adopting AI. So how do you combat that resistance? The antidote is something called micro-experiments. These are not giant, top-down IT projects. We're talking about small, safe-to-fail tests that pretty much anyone can run. Like maybe trying out an AI tool to summarize your meeting notes or automating one little weekly report. They're fast, you can undo them, and they're run by the people who actually do the work. Why are these so incredibly powerful? Well, first, they create a safe space for people to learn without being afraid of messing up. They replace fear with curiosity. They also give employees a real sense of ownership over this change. And honestly, they uncover these really practical, real-world ideas that a central team would never, ever find on its own. This is really the end game. It's not about doing AI projects. It's about becoming a company where using technology to solve problems is just how you work. When it feels safe to experiment, innovation stops being a special event and it just becomes a daily habit. I want to leave you with this thought. It's a quote from Harvard Business School professor Karim Lakhani, and it just sums everything up perfectly. The threat isn't that some super smart robot is coming for your job. The real, immediate threat is another company whose people are fluent in working with AI, making them faster, smarter, and way more innovative than you. So the final question is for you to take back to your team. Forget about hiring those experts for just a minute. Ask yourself, is your organization from the very top all the way to the front line ready to build the fluency you need to even ask the right questions? Because that, right there, is where this race is going to be won. Thanks for watching.